just want to give you sort of the agenda for the evening so you know what to expect. So we're gonna get, Melissa is gonna give us an update on what's going on with our CFP project for about 5 minutes. And then Seal's gonna talk and answer, they're gonna talk for a few minutes and then they're gonna take some questions until 6:55. And then we're gonna do, we've completed a treasure report, and Sophia needs like a standing ovation for the work that she's done for this, really. Did you hear that, Sophia? Anyway, and I'll hand that out so you guys can see it. I didn't print a whole lot, so you may need to share with your neighbor, but I'm gonna send all of this out on the email. So make sure that you're getting our emails and that we have your correct email address. That's our main form of communication. You're also welcome to join the WhatsApp group if you haven't done that yet. Okay, and then at about 7:10, we're gonna start on the deed restriction changes, proposals. I'm gonna hand out, I have some notes on just ideas that we've, been kicking around a little bit. And then, again, share with your neighbor if you're not on handouts. And then we can like sort of talk about it if there's more ideas. This is really like an idea gathering meeting for the deeds because we can't really change them until we put them in like the proper language and like have the attorney look at that. But for right now, we wanna decide what changes are needed because the deeds are so outdated that you can't vote electronically. There was, in 1945, there was no such thing as, joining a meeting virtually, so that's not allowed according to what's written. So it needs to be updated. And then we're gonna conclude at 7:30 unless we all agree to go a little bit longer, but I don't wanna go too much longer. I wanna be respectful of your time. So, great. As of now, I'm on time. All right, Melissa?
I have a question.
Sure.
I remember Joe, there was a Joe who lived here and his wife, they both, he and his wife tried to change the restrictions, and it was not possible because they never had a quorum.
Oh, well, we've got a quorum here. Quorum's 15 according to them. We definitely got that here.
Oh, yeah.
So we have that. We could change them right now if we wanted to, but I'd like to do it, carefully so we don't have to revisit this anytime soon. So it's kind of painful. All right, Melissa? Okay.
If it's possible, folks, can you please silence or put your phone on vibrate so as not to disturb the meeting? Thank you.
Oh, no, we're also recording the meeting, and we'll put it up on YouTube, and then that link will be sent out in the summary email that's gonna go out about the meeting as well. All right?
Hi, I'm Melissa Schaefer. I live on Bevelin Drive, and I have been serving the officer of secretary for the last year and a half, and also bird dogging Martha Castex Tatum, updated on the status
And the
of our
rest of the
CIP.
city.
So, some of you are probably familiar with this. The CIP Capital Improvement Project, there's 3 phases of work that apply to Westridge. The first phase is the phase 1 drainage improvements project. This is relining the stormwater pipe between 610 and the bayou, and it runs in that drainage easement between Westridge and Woodside, between Bevelin and Timberside. So those of us on Bevelin have a drainage easement in our backyards. This project is digging up that drainage easement and relining the stormwater pipe. The Engage Houston project timeline, as of this afternoon, notes the timeline for that project to be beginning fall 2025 and completing fall 2026. This was an update from this morning when it said it would begin in the summer. And we know the summer is about to end, they have not yet started, so that was impossible. This work has to be complete before phases 2 and 3 will begin. We're waiting on a bid approval vote by the council for that construction to begin. So in May, they voted to fund the project, and now they're voting on the bid. So they did receive bids. If you'll recall, a year ago, they canceled the bid process. This year they have a bidder. They will be voting on that between today and tomorrow. It was item 48 on the August 26th, 27th City Council agenda. So they did not shift back the completion date when they moved the start date. So I don't know if that means they will do the work faster, or if eventually we can anticipate that end date to run it over as well. Phases 2 and 3 are the streets, sidewalks, and lighting projects. So we we are all much more interested in. Phase 2 is that north section, so right around here and kind of the Knollwood piece of our neighborhood. Phase 3 is the entirety of Westridge. Again, as of today, Engage Houston says phase 2 will begin in fall of 2026. That was updated from spring of 2026. And phase 3 will be complete by spring of 2028. That was an update from summer of 2028, so somehow they're starting later and finishing earlier. They did vote and approve in May the design fees for these 2 phases. So we have continued indication that the project is moving forward and continued communication with Martha's office regarding the project. Any questions? If you're not already following the projects on Engage Houston, please do so. Please comment. Please ask them where we are with this. I think they think it's just me and I'm the only one who cares about it.
You can sign up really easily.
Yes.
Is Martha Castaneda still asking regularly, what is the status, where do you stand, how long, just make sure we stay in front of them?
I don't know if she's asked, I don't know what conversations she's had.
Because it
I'm
doesn't come
asking
through that
her.
channel, from what I understand.
I am asking her monthly to every other month for a status
Is she
update.
offering it up? And that's the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah,
When you ask her, you can say, then how far are you, when are you asking this?
yeah, I can do that.
It kind of puts them on the spot check.
When
She's
I,
putting them on the spot plenty.
when I send my emails, I copy Public Works, so I send it to the entire thread. I don't,
That's good.
yeah, so.
That helps.
But the project team continues to change, so I'll get rejected email addresses each time from somebody who no longer works for the city, so.
Alright.
They were supposed to, within the city, be setting up departmental emails. I'll say this, being one of those retirees that has received nothing yet after 5 months.
Oh.
Even though the mayor and the pension office do work together, not worried, but point is, they were supposed to be setting up departmental, because you put in Clay Burns, yeah, he's retired now, you're not gonna be. So the point was, what did you put in there for HPD, IT services, drones, and all that jazz?
Yeah.
So they needed a departmental, and you might start asking, is the only reason I'm asking, not,
Sure.
because that was something before I left. Now, did it wither on the line? I don't know, because I was one of the ones that kept backing on.
Awesome. Alright, listen, thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank
you.
Can I request that sign-in sheet starts getting passed around, so we can make sure we have everybody's email and everybody's here? And also, I made a promise to Matt that I would return his pen, so do not keep that pen, you'll make a liar out of me, please. Alright, come on. So, Amber, where's Amber?
Hello, everyone. I'm Amber Tabora. I live at 9714 Mariposa Street, so that part of the neighborhood. And I've been serving as the security liaison, which basically means I've been trying to make sure we're getting security reports from SEAL that we can share with the neighborhood. And then, as you know, I hope, pretty much all of our dues, that's the little bit that we're able to collect from the neighborhood, which is a fraction of what we need, primarily goes to SEAL Security. So that's the service that the street service that we have that helps keep our neighborhood safe. And we share this service with 2 other neighborhoods. That's how we're able to afford it. And all this information has been in all of Lynn's updates,
Yes.
as well as, I believe, on your invoices that you've received.
Yes,
for
and we're
the
going to
dues.
hand out the security report later.
Yes. So
Treasurer's now.
we have a team here tonight from SEAL that is going to introduce themselves and then walk you guys through some information and help answer any questions that you have about our security service and how they're keeping crime under control in our neighborhood. And
Hi everybody, my name is Officer Trevino. I'm with SEAL Security, one of the supervisors for this location.
I am Sergeant Hill, one of the supervisors out at this location as well.
My name is Hernandez, Sergeant Hernandez, also supervisor out here.
So, we're out here tonight just to give you some common core information that, you know, the company wanted us to push out to you if you're not aware, and you know, spread with your neighbors and stuff like that. So, we did want to stress to everybody that we do dedicate a 24-hour emergency as well as dispatch hotline for your neighborhood. A couple of you guys already picked up a couple of the business cards off of the table with the hotline number, and that is 24 hours, 365 days out of the year, including holidays. That number for everybody that couldn't attend today is 832-301-9100. Once again, it's 832-301-9100. Like I said, we offer that 24-hour hotline as well as GPS tracking on officers while they are out and about throughout the neighborhood, you know, so you're aware of what we're doing and, you know, the money's not being neglected. That GPS tracking device can be pinged at any point in time, and, you know, the board members can ask for that GPS and present it to you guys at any point in time. As well as with our new fleet of vehicles, we do have dash cameras facing outward as well as inward. So if you need be, you can request dash cam footage if need be. Moving forward, we're gonna go ahead and dabble into the numbers real quick for the 2025 year. I know we're just kind of getting into it, but you know, this is where we're at with it compared to 2024. So for the 2025 year, we had 154 calls for service to our hotline number. We had 55 vacation watches. We had suspicious persons, 8 calls. Information, we had a total of 6 calls. Suspicious vehicles, a total of 5 calls. Let's see. Assistance calls, we have a total of 3. Soliciting, total of 2. Alarm calls, total of 1. Burglary of vehicle / habitation, total of 1. And a total of 1 theft call to our services that we serviced for the 2025 year. Now, comparing to the 2024 year, it's a drastic, I want to say, change due to the fact that we're not halfway through the year already. So as we get through the year, these numbers shall change, give or take.
Those numbers are specific to Westridge, because I know we're a 3 consortium, and at one time we had to make sure we kept them broken up.
Yes, so moving forward, these are specific numbers for,
Just verify.
yeah, this specific area, yes, sir. Okay, and that's pretty much it what I have for here.
Do you have any questions?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
I see you guys are armed. If you have a guy that's really bad, you can detain him because you are armed?
Yes, well, in the state of Texas, for the penal code, we do have the authority to arrest them and hold them until HPD comes out.
Thank you.
Yay.
They're all, last I remember, you were TCO certified, correct?
We do have TCO certified officers, but we also do have state, issued guard officers that are,
That are,
hey, yeah.
okay. I'm just very, at one time.
No, you're okay.
I've been here a little while, so. Your monthly report, I know she mentioned it earlier. Do we get it published anymore? We used to go in and we stripped off addresses because you didn't want them to know they're breaking into my house or his house or whoever, but at least it told them, hey, if you've got a side door in the garage, please close it because they're crawling through the double door and then breaking into the garage. But it gave us things to publish to our people. I didn't know if that's, how that's published or sent, but it's a thought to let people know what's happening around them, or to be watchful of what's happening around them.
So the monthly reports, and it drops down to monthly and daily reports that are received to the security advisory team over the neighborhood and everything like that, and they can do so with the information what they decide to do with it. So if they wanna, you know, publicize it and say, hey, this was going on in this area, this was going on in this area, they can publish.
So it's what I used to get in the security liaison, when you mentioned the other 2 divisions monthly. But I made the point to strip out addresses so that it showed, here's what's happening in the area. So, okay.
Just to clarify, you're saying all that level of detail is being provided. We don't own the contract, so, one of the other neighborhoods does, so we get the security reports from them, not directly from you guys.
Mhm.
And they just pass them on to me, and I've never seen that level of detail in those
Okay.
reports.
How is
there a way for us to get the Westridge level
So
detail,
if,
like once a quarter or something? I don't know.
you can definitely message Erica, and she can definitely get something drawn up for you.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
About solicitors, I know that, our neighbors, or other neighborhoods, they don't solicit, or they are against solicitors. And you, I guess you're aware of that, but in our neighborhood, in Westridge, we don't have a sign up that says no solicitors. So if I call and I see solicitors in the neighborhood, I can call you,
Yes,
okay? And you'll get rid of them?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So if you see a suspicious vehicle, call you and tell you about it?
Yeah, if you see anything suspicious, see anybody lowering next to your neighbor's house that doesn't look like they're supposed to be, call us. We actually prefer that you guys do it instead of going out and doing it yourself and potentially get yourself hurt.
Yeah, no, of course, okay. Oh, and also everybody, what is the vacation? Can you talk a little bit about that?
So with vacation watches, they're a tool that we utilize and that we picked up from our law enforcement partners that are a great asset for when you go on vacation or you're out of town for the holidays and you want, a marked unit to patrol while they're out patrolling, check your resident. We have a couple of sign-up sheets as well as on our website. You can sign up for your house to be on a vacation watch, and a list of vacation watches is printed out and given to the officer, and they, as they're doing their duty patrolling through the neighborhoods, they can stop, check your resident, do a door check, and make sure nothing's going on.
And that's on the website, we don't need to call this.
We also have, sign-up sheets that you can do, which,
I just wanted to clarify that vacation watch is available for dues paying members, not everybody who lives in Westridge.
For those that are dues paying.
as far as I'm concerned, I'm not 100% on that, like I said, you would have to shoot that to Erica. She can say.
Okay, sorry. What'd she say? I couldn't hear her because.
She was asking about if the vacation watches were accessible to everybody or just due paying members.
It used to be routed back into the Westridge Civic Group. At one point, a person checked and said, no, Clay is not paying his dues, so maybe don't go watch his house.
Gotcha.
I used to use an example, so anybody has a fit.
Okay, awesome.
Or if he is.
Anybody else have a question? Okay.
So you guys are patrolling during the days, and what time till you guys stop patrolling?
So I don't have those numbers at me right now. Like I said, that would be,
I think it's 9 to 6.
Is it still
That's
running?
6.
We used to vary that so that it wasn't obvious the exact hours, mainly so that the criminals didn't learn when they were here and not here.
That's right.
Okay, all
And
right.
they would rotate it. Now, if it was late at night, obviously, our group came in and had a negotiation with your parents, the head of your group, and said, hey, we'd like to have some Saturday night watch or something.
So,
That's-
So I'm of the understanding that you're on an 8-hour shift, whatever time that is, on your schedule, but you're only on 8 hours, so if you're not on the schedule, then I call, I got a problem. I kinda get that, they will call HPD for me, and that's my option if I want them to come around, so.
yes, sir.
Did you still have a neighboring seal divert over if there was a neighbor close area?
Good
That
question.
could be an issue too.
Good question.
If we do have an officer in the area,
In the area,
Yeah.
because if they were in the neighborhood over here,
yeah.
and they weren't part of our group, then they would say, oh, come on, I'll go check.
9 times out of 10, what we do now is because, time is so sensitive for each neighborhood and stuff like that, we'll just send one of us out and we'll check it for them.
Huh, good question.
Renee?
So I'm not clear like what time you are in our neighborhood.
It's 9 to 6. 9 to 6 during the weekday.
Not our neighborhood then, right?
Yes. Our neighborhood, right?
That's my understanding.
Yeah, that was my understanding too.
But every day?
Patrolling.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, yes.
It's only 40 hours.
So cycling through.
Oh, so Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, they're patrolling the 3 neighborhoods that pay them.
Right.
All the neighborhoods,
Yes.
it's not just West.
Well, there's 3 of them. 3 neighborhoods. Okay, anybody else? Okay,
So I just kind of wanted to, I'm reading the room here, and as much as I'm hearing 9 to 6 or varying the schedule, the reason I believe that we have these officers in front of us is to understand what their capabilities are and what they can provide for the neighborhood. The incentive is also, it's important to maximize the time that they're here, but it's also important to understand the value that they provide our neighborhood. So right now, we are sharing these officers in multiple neighborhoods. Dues paid for us to have a more comprehensive supervision by these officers. So rather than worry about the amount of time that they're here or varying, if we can find a way to add more value by increasing our dues or by having those dues work for us so that these people can be visible to our neighborhood, to be visible for criminals that could potentially be harming our property, that's part of the reason why we have them here. They're here because they're providing us a report, but it's also important for us to understand that the money that we provide in dues as homeowners provide us a level of security. And 9 to 6, although that does provide 8 hours for 3 neighborhoods, if we were to have adequate dues and a higher percentage of dues paying members in our neighborhood, this would not even be a concern. They would be here, they would be at our disposal. We wouldn't have to necessarily require HPD or have them call HPD. The hotline is a very valuable service, but again, the push really is to see the value in what law enforcement can provide our neighborhood and the importance of paying dues and the larger percentage of our neighborhood that are not paying dues to see the value, so we're not having to say, you're paying dues, you get the service, you're not paying dues, let me check the list to see if I can stop a criminal from, doing damage to your property. So I just kind of wanted to put it out there. I mean, I know that we're talking about times, and that's also important, but if we can see the bigger picture and that these people provide a valuable service to our neighborhood, and let's find a way to be giving to the neighborhood, not just to our property, but our neighborhood as a whole, and keep the criminals out.
There's another thing also, which is, thanks, Jen. One more thing, which is, the reason that they're here 9 to 6 during the weekday is because that's when most people are not home, and that's actually when most of the home break-ins happen. I was walking my dog today at noon, and I put it on the WhatsApp group, there was this, black minivan just going really slow with the windows down, like stopping at certain houses, and I saw this woman, the woman locked eyes with me, and she looked like, oh, I know I'm not supposed to be here, and I just felt like, well, this is why they're here during the day. So, it was like counterintuitive, well, why during the day? That's why. So, I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, thank you so much for coming over.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there another question, Matt?
Do you have any statistics about crime rates before and after contracts enter into neighborhoods?
No. Anything else?
I do know that there was a series of robberies before we got Seal, and that's why we got them. There was somebody that was breaking into houses and defecating in people's living rooms or something. People who've been here longer probably know more about that than I do, but that's actually why we got them, and I believe that they've been doing, the deterrence is a big part of it. So.
Also, the porch pirates, people going behind UPS, FedEx, and post office, and when your packages from Amazon or whatever are dropped off, they will wait a little while to see if anyone's picking up, and then they will follow behind and grab your package. So having these folks here when the majority of packages are being delivered during the day when you're not home, is why I think that time is valuable at our current rate.
To address the question you asked, there was a recent email from Martha's office with crime statistics for District K overall. And I asked her if she had that data available at the neighborhood level, and she did not. She said Seal could provide it to us. And she said that, and there has been a decline in crime in District K, and she attributed it to so many of the neighborhoods in our district having contracts either with Seal or other similar fire services. So it's not a reduction in crime in Houston so much as a deterrent thanks to partners like Seal.
Thank you so much. Where's Sophia? Oh. Alright, so. Okay, like I said, I didn't print a huge amount of these, so share if there's not enough. sent out like a whole bunch of these, so share if there's not enough. So I just wanted to thank the people that have been in this role of treasurer, Sam and Sophia. This is kind of a thankless role, and it's very time consuming, and it's very important role. So I just wanted to thank you.
Alright, I'm just gonna do a quick overview and then hand it back over to Lynn. Oh, sorry.
People in the back.
So we have, out of the 221 homes in our neighborhood, we've had 74 paid so far, 75 counting, we played and dropped it off today, so haven't marked that one down yet. So that's good, it's still 33% participation, usually we get around 40 to 50, so we're hoping more will trickle in. We do have a lot of empty lots, so, and renters, so it's, we're gonna have to do a second round to try to reach out to them. Hopefully that will increase our numbers. But out of those, we also had 17 homes who paid extra, and I wanted to call that out because that's very generous, and we're very appreciative of that, because that helps kind of help pay for some other folks who can't.
And it's a
pay.
considerable amount.
It's considerable, it's about $3,000, so it's a lot, and we appreciate that, thank you so much. So that comprises about $16,000, and if you take into account our seal fees and some other administrative fees, we are still, our remaining funds after we pay for all of that are about $18,000, so that is about enough to pay for next year's, but we still have to do a lot, especially if we wanna increase hours for seal, we're gonna have to try to get some more, dues paid, so we can, improve, not only just seal, but any other, opportunities or activities that we want to.
One of the challenges we've had, and I've put this in my emails, is that
I can't hear you.
one of the challenges we've had, and I put this in my emails, is that we haven't raised the dues since 2018, but every single year, I mean, if you think about the way that how much things cost in 2018 and how much things cost now, there's a very, very big difference. So our costs keep going up, but the dues remain the same. So, and with less participation, we're each year we're getting to the point where, okay, we're gonna make it, are we gonna make it? So that's one of the reasons why we need to have this dues conversation, so we can update that as well as updating everything else. And, you know, maybe at some point brainstorm ways to get more participation, from the residents. So, do we have any questions?
What you'll notice on the back too is just a diagram of our neighborhood, and the red boxes are the homes that have not yet paid, and the gray boxes are the ones that have paid, so thank you very much for admitting your.
I have a question, not to put you on the spot, but I know in the past, we had a lot of work that you did, and I'm very appreciative to it when I was helping with the city group. Did we ever go back and rematch what the HCAD was showing the property and mail to them? Because as you had told me and some of us, you said, a lot of these apparently are leased because these are out of town.
We
out of
sent it to the
places.
owners. We sent the invoices to the owners
So-
according to HCAD.
We
So
do
we
like
send
a
it to the
yearly
owner.
audit, we do a yearly audit, so now, especially when I'm receiving some of these returned envelopes that go to lots, when I get them, I look them up on HCAD, like, where does this person live, is it a secondary address? So that's what the second round is going to be, cause I just sent the first round a couple weeks ago. So the second round will be to all those secondary, addresses that we have on file.
But we don't know what the percentages are anymore, because one of the issues that we struggled with was how big a percentage of leased property we had versus owned property. Not owned, I mean, those are the.
We do have those.
At the end of this round, I don't have the number on me, I can go and look to see
That's fine.
what that
I
is.
just-
It's probably about 30%.
I'm trying to look at ways to possibly, now that I have a little more time, I have.
I will say out of those, when we
We're
did this
gonna rope
last
you in.
time, when we sent the secondary address last time, I think it was 40 envelopes I sent out, I only got like 3 payment. But some of them are to LLCs, some.
Or the
holding
estate
company.
of,
Yeah.
I've got an LLC right next to me, too.
Okay, you had a question, right? No. Other questions? Other treasurer's report?
It's really easy to use. I just did it. So
Yeah, there's Zelle, there's Cheddar. You can drop off the check in my office.
not entertain those words notice if they're not
Yes.
paying,
Yes.
and ask them why they don't care about me.
Yeah, be careful, we'll give this map to seal, then you'll be in trouble. Just kidding. Okay, thanks, Sophia, yay. Oh, wait, we have another question.
Are renters the same as owners, like?
We send them to the names that we have on file, and if they say, well, I run this, I'm not the owner, like I got that one last week, so then we'll send it to the actual owner. We're not asking the renter like to be forced to pay, where the owner should really pay the one.
Okay.
A very quick comment, because you know I did this in the past. I walk the neighborhoods now, especially having a little more, maybe early morning in the dark, maybe. But anyway, I run into a lot of them, and some of them are renters, as you said. And I look right at them point blank, very solid and state. I guess your person who's leasing is gonna be worried about your property when somebody breaks in and steals it, right? And all of a sudden, they kind of look at me stone faced, and I said, you can pay to be part of this, they help make sure we have more security. Anyway.
All right, can you pass these down? Oh, sure. The next conversation, now we're getting to this is great part of it. Getting to the deed restriction conversation. Is the sign up sheet still going around? Is it back? Okay, great. All right. Okay. So. Melissa? No, I am. Okay, great. Does everybody have one of these or access to one? It's in the email that I sent out this morning, so if you have access to your email this evening, this exact same thing. And I'll read it out loud, basically. I need a pen. Okay, so the first thing is very straightforward. The fiscal year in the bylaws, the bylaws is February 1st to January 31st. I don't even know when the last time that was done. So changing that's kind of a no-brainer just to get it in line with what we're actually doing. I think some of these things are gonna be like, what are we actually doing in practice now, and let's have the bylaws match that. All right, so the second thing is what I
How
would.
do you want to handle it? Do you want any commentary on these, or are you just going to read them?
Or should we do like a thing where all in favor or something like that?
Well, are we voting on this tonight?
That's a good
well,
question.
Or are we just discussing it and then
My-
drafting formal language to vote on later?
So my understanding from Georgia was that we would talk about it tonight, get more ideas, then we would put it in formal language, and then we would send it out and have people vote on it.
So should we discuss each point before we move on, or did you want to discuss all of them at once?
I think I'd like to go through them all, because what I don't want to happen is for us to get into the weeds on one thing and then we don't get through the whole thing. So
Okay.
let's just go over each thing. If there's something you want to say, just kind of raise your hand.
I'm not sure about what you're talking about, what year, but I know that they were updated recently, like definitely after 1979, because there's a 1979 stamp on them. Plus there's, pen, written on it when we all voted on them. So I'm not sure.
I don't have that.
Okay.
I have everything that you sent me.
Yeah, that's what I have. It's 1979, and then plus it has updated on it. I've never
I have
seen a
what I sent.
1940 something.
That's the inception. That's when it started.
So
Yeah.
the 1978 was not the year. That's actually the volume. I'll show it to you.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to look at the most recent ones for sure. Yeah, but they were updated. Okay, listen, yeah, we'll get the most recent.
Okay. Are we moving on to the next thing, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the second thing is change the revision so that people can, attend meetings virtually and vote electronically. I think we should circle back around to the do's at the end, because I think that's gonna be a big conversation. Create an architectural review committee for the purpose of reviewing and approving future front elevation improvements. I
I think it's important to do that because we have situations now where people have spent money to build things that are in clear violation of the bylaws. For example, there's a fence at Westridge and Buffalo Speedway, which really needs to be back like 25 feet. It shouldn't be obstructed. It specifically says in the documentation, you can't obstruct people's view of traffic.
Well, it also says that no fence can be built beyond the setback line.
Right.
Correct.
So it's tree improvements, they'll have to tear that out.
Well,
Will they put in
the
sidewalk?
process for us is gonna be getting in contact with the city attorney, waiting for the city attorney to send letters to them. It's a kind of a long process, so.
I did that in January for that fence, for anyone wondering.
Yeah, so it's very hard, we don't really have any teeth,
Yeah.
because we're just a civic association. So, anyway, okay, okay, and the other thing that it says in the documentation is that you're not allowed to have a business of any kind in your home, which doesn't really fit with, 2025, so we wanted to change that to say you can have a home-based business, but as long as it's, and I was struggled with how to word this so that it doesn't look like you have a store opening in your house. So it doesn't look like you have a commercial business there, so you're not having like trucks going by every day, so.
And that was the original intent of Guy, who developed this thing, just like you said.
Right.
Okay, you can have a business, but you can't fly it.
And people coming
Coming and going.
Right.
Go ahead,
Hair
Matt.
salon.
Two things on that. One, there's a minor typo, it's obstruct traffic, not abstract traffic. And then two, there's already, language in deed restrictions about signage that can't be too big. There's not gonna be any like marquee storefront problems anyways.
Right.
There's already language to punish
Right.
that.
I wasn't worried about that. What I was thinking more is people changing their property to make it look commercial? That was a concern. Go ahead.
So if we pass that and put that in, what is the enforcement?
Well, it's the same, like a city attorney,
Okay.
the only enforcement we would really have, and I know this is a prickly subject, but, what I would love to see is for us to transition into an HOA, to grandfather in the current, people who live here now, so that your dues are still optional. But anybody new that's moving into the neighborhood, they're informed, this is an HOA, you will be having to pay dues, it's mandatory. So slowly, the transition becomes where we have an HOA, we get the dues regularly, we can pay for, whatever we need to pay for. And we can tell people, you can't build a fence like that, and it's gonna take us years to get you to remove it, it's not gonna be like that. But my feeling is if we had an HOA, we could create it any way we wanted to, we could create something that worked for everybody and still have the teeth that we needed to. My feeling, I know that, I'd love to hear people's reaction. So, but my real feeling, and the same goes for the dues that I wanted to emphasize, is whatever we choose to make the dues at, if people have, our neighborhood is really diverse. It's diverse in every way, so we wanna make it, we have a lot of seniors, we have a lot of people on fixed income. If you are unable to pay, that's why we've opened up this option for people to pay for their houses, which people have started doing, as you see on the treasury report.
Yep.
So, I want people to feel free to say, hey, I can't, but at least they've come forth and said, hey, I know about this, I'm making an arrangement with you, versus the way it is now, where you've got like a map full of red. Go ahead.
It's real simple. We're a civic club. It's all voluntary. She can propose $300 a month, but it's a civic club. The people that aren't paying aren't gonna pay. The people who are paying are gonna feel obligated to pay that $350 a month or whatever it is. So it really is, we're a civic club, a volunteer club. And I wanna see an HOA too, but I don't want all those restrictions.
Yeah.
That other HOAs
Yeah.
are very picky.
We can create it
and
the way
being
we
sued-
want.
And being sued and all that crap. I don't go for that. I know, I've lived here since '76. I like this neighborhood, but HOA has gotta be really defined before I sign on. And I'd like to know how this thing is gonna play out as far as voting, because we have a quorum. I know it's 15%.
15 people.
15 people? I thought it was percent.
15 people.
Oh, wow.
I'll show you the documentation.
I think it's very dangerous to make it an HOA if only 15 people can show up and change everything.
Well, we can
on
change
it.
that too. We can
I
write
just
it
think
any way
that,
we
I
want.
think that it has worked this long. There are some tweaks, I agree, but I think making it an HOA is drastic, extreme, and it will infringe on our rights. That's
But
what I think.
the thing you gotta remember is that's how the bylaws are written for the civic association. We can write it any way we want for the HOA, and we can make sure that we get 60-70% of buy-in.
Right, but we have to think about the future and the 15 people who might change it on everybody.
But this is what I'm trying to tell you, we can write that out of the HOA doesn't have to have that 15 people. We can change that.
Yeah, I just think it's a very slippery slope. That's my opinion.
Back on the voting part of it, just to be very, very quick. Electronically, you need to be very cautious about who and what's voting, because most of us are used to using Teams or Zoom through a company type spot. When you're out in the open market, I can post my picture up there and it's not me, it's Renee, it's him, or it's them.
No, it's a private link to a Google Doc.
Well, and it
It's
can
not-
be a private, but we gotta be very careful that I work with friends at HPD too, so we can. So that's just something to make sure we're careful how we do it. I do agree that having people remote needs to be a thought, yes.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Matt?
Sounds like the two main pain points that are pushing for HOA are, we want more mandatory dues, so that we meet that budget. And the second being, we want more teeth to the bylaws and the regulations that we have. I like the second part. I think the first part leans into, from my perspective, data collection. If people aren't already paying the dues, it means they're not seeing the value in the dues. That's why I've asked questions the last two meetings of,
Yes.
what are the actual crime statistics?
Right, that's why we wanted to.
And I realize everyone's gonna have allegorical data.
Right.
I'm gonna be the STEM nerd and say, I want paper data.
Yeah.
I want real analysis of before seal, it was this, after seal, it was this. And then we can say as a community, that's worth the 18K or 19.5, whatever it ends up being. If it's not worth that much, that's a discussion to have and say, okay, well, we really only can afford 10K a year. That means we're out of seal, but what can we do in terms of community volunteer work and like being more of a civic club that doesn't necessarily offload to seal or using contracts, but doing more like what you did on the WhatsApp, where it's like, hey, there's a weird band, keep your eyes open. We've got ring cameras, I just wanna say there are other solution spaces to explore. Not paying dues isn't necessarily a problem to solve, it's data to incorporate into a decision.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that we need to do a comparison of before and after seal. Okay.
That would certainly help me know, okay, if I saw data that was like, all right, I am getting value out of this 200, whatever that number is.
Got it.
If I could say that's giving me strong value, yes, because I will just out myself as the villain. We paid when we first got here, and then it was like, this is just going to security. We're not seeing the value payoff. What are the crime statistics? What can we really say? Because in my opinion, I'd like to see more community events. I'd like to see more like actual sort of like neighborly outreach and stuff, rather than just a patrol car that I occasionally see, usually over in the other neighborhood. But that's anecdotal, right? They're doing a good job patrolling, I am sure they are. It's just, I don't know what the value is out of that patrol, so I can't make a good value judgment for my walk.
Okay, got it, understood. So what would convince you that it's valuable besides the before and after?
The most ludicrous example I can think of is if I had to pay the replacement cost for everything I ordered from Amazon for 1 year, if that was more than the dues, then I would say the dues are worth it. Because they're probably, if
What
I've
about
seen
somebody
like the
breaking
actual
into your
reduction
house?
in porch piracy and theft and all those other kinds of things, if I saw those go down, if I saw that delta of before seal, it was 30 incidents a year, and after seal, it was 10 incidents a year. If that delta is worth the cost, then yeah, it's worth it.
Okay, that's a pretty high bar, because there's a lot of other crimes besides just porch pirating.
Right, yes, this is me being me, your personal opinion, that's the thing that I'm thinking about the most, because that's the thing that I think is probably going to happen. If there's a house burglary, I don't know if seal is going to stop. I also work from home, so I'm going to go to my self-defense and things and not call seal, that's gonna be the first line of defense.
Okay, all right, who else was, some other people raise their hands?
Yeah, if you're here in this meeting, you care about this neighborhood. I'm making that statement boldly because I believe that the people that are here have something to say and want to be heard. The people that are not here, for the most part, are the people that are the red houses on that list. The importance of getting those people that are on the red houses, whether they're renters, whether they're leasers, whether they're uninvolved because of financial constraints, those are the people that we want to involve in this neighborhood. And I hear what you're saying, Matt, about more community involvement. When we have an involvement of less than 40%, some of the things that you're proposing are just not realistic because it doesn't lend itself to any kind of comprehensive community when we have less than 40% involvement in these type of conversations. So whether it's about money for security or beautification, or whether it's about an HOA, some people think, you know, for some of us, an HOA is a bad word, right? We've come from HOAs, we know how constraining they can be. We believe that a civic association is more open, it offers more flexibility. But the creation of an HOA, and I'm gonna speak on behalf of an advocate because I've seen them where they do work. I've seen them where they have been on the side of the homeowner, where the homeowner feels empowered to take action, to receive law enforcement assistance, and actually to rely on its own community to make sure that the needs are met for themselves as a comprehensive member of the community. So I'm asking you guys I'm making an unreasonable request of the people here that they consider the process of having an HOA as not an HOA that you've seen in the past, but an HOA that is being created to benefit those that are in this room. And for those that are not in this room, that are not seeing the benefit, it's important that they also come to these meetings and be involved in this process. Because we can't have a community that's actively involved and has programming if we don't have those members being a part of that community.
So I have a question to that point. There are a lot of red boxes on this diagram. Do we know how many of those red X's or red boxes are rental houses?
Yes.
And is it possible to provide a list in a forum publicly so that we can reach out to not only the renters, but also to potentially the homeowners that actually own the house when they're there, to encourage them to participate in this forum?
Okay, so Sophia's done that, and we did that last year also. We send it to the person who lives there, and we also send it to the name that's on the HCAD. The invoice, is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Until we become an HOA, then that person who rents, the owner of that house, he'll have to pay like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right?
You would have to
So
pay.
it's that simple. Either we do an HOA and verbiage, the correct verbiage that I wanna see. I don't wanna see that people being sued because they didn't pay their dues last month. That type of thing.
That has happened already.
Yeah.
It's, Westridge Civic Association has grown teeth a few times and actually tried to take homes off of people, so that's why you might not know that it's very sensitive to those who are older residents here.
That's true.
They've tried to take someone's home, so people don't want their home taken off of them.
Okay, well then that can be written into the
Yeah.
bylaws. of
Well,
the
I
HOA.
understand all of it can be written, but like, that's the sensitivity that maybe you
I
didn't know
hear you,
about.
I hear you.
Yeah.
No, I hear that, and I hear the fear. I request that you trust that we are different, we're different time, different people, and we're not gonna try and do something that's not gonna benefit other people.
Right, but we have to think about the future and who might get in charge also. So you might
That's
move
true.
away, and then who might get in charge, so we
That's
have to
true.
think about that.
So that would have to be written into so there's protection for all the
It's
homeowners.
already there, that's why it didn't happen. So like in our civic association, it's already written, the protections are there, that's why it's so big.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that would need to be fixed. The other thing I just wanted to say about an HOA is that when people come to buy a property in this neighborhood, if it was an HOA, they would be informed and be aware that the dues are mandatory and that it is an HOA before they buy the property. So they know what they're getting into and they're agreeing to it, and they also get a copy of everything that the HOA says before, because we lived in an HOA before, and like I said, we lived there for a long time, we had a really, really good experience with an HOA. So, you know, we had a constable, and can I tell you, that was incredible.
I don't know if any of you have ever lived in a neighborhood that had a constable, it is
I was here
incredible.
when the constable was here.
It is
We paid
incredible.
them.
I mean, you know, you got one issue, you got an armed officer there in less than 1 minute, it's incredible.
But we used to have constables before seal, and
That's right.
everybody chose seal over constables.
I think that may have been a price issue, but anyway, go ahead, Jeanette. Oh, sorry.
When I moved in years ago, we didn't have anything, we weren't even needy. I got broken into twice. And we started up the City Club right after that. I mean, we got it going. And we have had somebody patrolling ever since. And it has been worth every penny that I have paid.
I think my feeling is, it only takes one time for you to be a victim of a crime and to feel what that feels like emotionally before you can say, okay, this is worth it or it's not worth it. So, you know, just maybe too much information, but I work from home and normally there's cars there, but today my son borrowed my car and there was no cars in my house, and I felt really unsafe. And then I was walking the dog and I saw this car, you know, this car checking out the houses, and I was like, oh my God. So, I don't know, I just wanna put that out there, that's real for a lot of people. Okay, let's continue going here, cause, only 5 minutes. All right, I wanna go through the fast things that I think there's not gonna be a lot of conversation, and then I wanna circle back. One is that right now in the bylaws, it says that the grounds have to be in good repair. I'd like to include building structures as well. There's some walls that are falling down, so I'd like to add that. Carports that are not being maintained, that should be added. Do we wanna say anything about short-term rentals? I know that there's an ordinance that just passed, the city just passed that short-term rentals need to register with the city, and they need to pay, you know, dues and everything there.
What would the definition of short-term rental be?
I'm not sure. I don't know how they define it, frankly.
If I'm not mistaken, you can only rent up to 30 days, less than a month. You can't do it on a monthly basis. You can do it less than 30 days.
And I think it's timely because next year is the FIFA World Cup. And if
What's that?
short-term rental includes Airbnb,
Yes, it does.
we ought to have a conversation about that.
Yeah, the other thing.
That's kind of what I was gonna bring up, and what some of the people here are talking about is the short-term rentals. I wasn't close to mine and kept them down. But the, World Cup's coming, and we have the Super Bowl, you have people that are just taking their house out because they can make, $2,000 a day on it, or stuff like that, and those are the kind of things that you probably want to address. Because that means you got no control of who's moving in there and how many parties they're going to bring.
Well, they're not allowed to use them as party houses anymore. That's part of the Houston ordinance.
By definition, how does that work?
I'll give you a real example. I live right next door to one. During the hurricane season, they had all these out-of-town people with the bucket trucks and everything. They rented that house, they had 30 people living in that house, and they would park the bucket trucks in front of right in front, for about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So
so that's turning it into a commercial.
Doesn't make a
That's
difference.
against
It's an
this.
Airbnb, it's a short STR, we gotta do something about STRs, okay? The city has their guidelines, I'd like to eliminate STRs in our neighborhood.
I don't know if that's gonna be possible, Frank.
Well, only the vote will determine that one.
Well, but we can't even get somebody to not build a fence right up to the sidewalk. I mean, how are we gonna enforce that?
The city will allow it, but what are the conditions with the city rule?
Say again?
The conditions for the city to have a short-term rental? You have to register the property, and then are there any other?
You know, I read it last night at
Sticky
midnight and I
points?
can't tell you.
Okay, just curious.
But it's very easy to find
Yeah, there are
online.
restrictions for that.
There are
but
some
you gotta do it.
restrictions, yes, but we can add more restrictions.
Yeah.
So what I request is think about what you wanna add, since we're not gonna have time to discuss that, and send it in an email. Okay?
And I do wanna, you say electronically, when you say electronically, we gotta go to this, or the people in the neighborhood would go to this app to vote.
No app.
No app, what is it? What electronic?
It's a Google form that I create from the Google Drive that we own,
Okay.
Westridge Civic Association @gmail.com.
Okay,
I send the link to you specifically, you go into the link and you put Frank or nothing, and you put like whatever you wanna vote for.
Oh, really?
It's not complicated,
secure.
it's not
That's
a
secure.
third party anything.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just make it simple and all.
Yeah, super simple, it's just like you voted for officers 2 years ago. Aren't you sorry now?
I voted for him.
You did, Clay, you did vote for Clay. Okay, you wanted to say
I
something.
got a lot of mouse on my book.
Sorry, in the purple? Did you wanna say something?
No, but I will say with the VMEs, and the future things that are coming, it really kills my street with cars. So we block the ends of our driveway with our trash cans to keep them from blocking this out.
Okay, I got an idea. I go to the radio
And we're
supermarket.
on the same street.
Okay, so what they did, Knollwood had a real big issue with this, with the rodeo parking. And what they did was every time they saw somebody with even a minor infraction with the parking, they called HPD and HPD issued tickets. And they stopped parking in that area.
And a while back, I published the yelling and ticketing slip. If they're even an inch into your driveway entrance, that's called blocking ingress and egress. And you can call them and they can have on the phone.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
And if they park on the wrong side of the street, that means your left tire is farther than, I think it's 6 inches from the curb. So now they can ticket you for that, because I see people parking on the
Yeah,
wrong
6
side. I
inches.
try to warn them. I said, hey, you could get a ticket because you're parking.
Well, that's how they did it in Knollwood. That's how they got rid of the rodeo
Because your
parking. They
left
just
tire is-
called HPD and they issued tickets all day long for all these people that were blocking the street, so. Okay, acknowledge that it's 7:30 right now. I said we would end on time. We have not had the dues conversation. What do we do about that?
Required dues.
They're required now.
Well, you'll be, you need a motion on the vote, on.
So we're not voting now, this is really like gathering the information. I request that we stay for 5 more minutes, just to have this conversation, yeah? That's fine. Okay, so this 350 number and this 200 number, I just kind of pulled that out. I don't know if that's fair. The main issue that I have is whatever we put the dues at is more than it is now. And it's tied at least 3% going up each year. So we don't get ourselves in this huge, we've been fighting for years and years to try and raise the dues that haven't been raised, in 8 years, so.
My thought is that all the people that are paying the dues now, are probably 90% in this room, okay, are don't want to see an increase, because we're gonna be the same people that's already paying the dues now. So it's an HOA issue, because I want everybody to pay, or you can certainly do something about it.
I think it should go up, but I think the same percentage of people paying down are gonna be paying down.
So what if we did this, what if we did, okay, let's take the rate of inflation for each of those years and calculate what the dues would be if they kept up with the inflation. I feel like that's gonna be a pretty low number, but.
I think it's already been said very well in kind of other ways. The main problem is the people who are already paying will probably still keep paying, they'll just feel worse about it because it's bigger. And the people who aren't already paying will have a worse value assessment, because now it's gone up and they still weren't convinced to pay the lower right.
Well, the other option is to make this into an HOA, and there's some pretty staunch.
Right, but that's why I circle back. My opinion is value. Show that there's value, really prove that case and make it really obvious, then you might get more buy-in. from
Okay, you and I
people
need
who
to
aren't
talk,
paying.
cause Sam.
So why do we make it required and put it at a high number for LLCs or non-owner-owned properties?
Ooh.
And those properties also get no building permission.
But they don't pay now.
Yeah, they don't pay now.
Because it's not required. So we as.
One time I got a letter from a lawyer from one of these people of, why are you sending me
letter from a lawyer of one of the LLCs asking, why am I sending them an invoice, because it's voluntary, so they already don't wanna pay, and if it goes higher, they'll just more
No, so
likely.
that's what I'm saying, so we make it, like, we're saying, part of the HOA thing is then it's required for everybody. So let's make it required for the people or the entities that aren't paying it.
But if we do it the way I was saying, which is if you already live here, then it's optional for the time that you live here, that's not gonna, that issue won't be solved.
I will just say, I'm anti-HOA, you could punish the LLCs to oblivion, and you pro-HOA.
How do you punish them?
If you are a non-corporate entity that if the building you have a homeowner's benefit on, you get one rate. If you don't have a homeowner's benefit on, i.e. you're a corporate, owner, you get 10,000%.
So a homestead exemption is what you're.
Homestead, basically a homestead exemption for the HOA fee to drive it real low. Everyone who's not homestead exemptioning whatever building is here, hi, welcome to Billtown.
Okay,
And actually, to piggyback on that, because there's also a senior rate.
are you getting all this, Melissa?
There's an there's a homestead rate, there's a senior exemption as well.
Yes.
Which allows us then, hey, if you have a senior exemption, therefore.
Yes,
it's
I like that
very-
too.
Homestead.
We need to take care of our seniors.
Non-homestead, non-senior,
But we still need to figure out ways to, like what you're saying, to prove the value, so all these folks that are homestead, they are paying, or they want to pay.
This is the big issue, so if we're homestead owners, right? And we're also LLC owners, and we make sure that our properties are rented by people that are responsible and take it, I don't wanna be punished for that. And I have to pay my dues. That's why I have a problem with that.
Yeah, there are people that own other houses in the neighborhood that they
I
live
think
in.
what you missed is that you own property and you live in the neighborhood, so that would qualify to meet that threshold. If you do not live in the neighborhood and you own property, that's when you'd be penalized for a higher.
It wouldn't be penalized. If you own 5 houses, you should pay for all 5 of them.
What you're saying about the.
Here's one of the problems we had. Back 5-6 years ago, we used to be, my brothers a lot. They say, a lot of people own 3 to 5 houses, where they live here, they don't live, it doesn't matter. But most of them are already retired. So if a retired person owns 5 houses, and they don't have to pay dues because they're retired, that's 5 houses, doesn't have to pay.
No, reduced rate, not. No.
Well, then they're not
That
paying.
could be written in also, the house you live in, the houses that you have a homestead exemption on and the senior discount, those are the houses that you pay the least.
They don't, they're not paying because it's a civic club, and they don't have to pay because they choose not to. That's it, it's real simple. HOA, it's required, and you can take action if you don't, no matter how many houses you own.
Correct.
HOA will make you pay the dues.
And
Civic
if you
club
don't pay,
is-
then what happens?
You don't pay? You can put it in your
Put a
HOA.
lien on the house and then when they try and sell it, they have to pay the lien?
No, none of that. I mean, good grief, that's not.
That's what I'm asking, that's like another, like, what teeth do you want? Cause you
It
can have
isn't
teeth
like
like
back,
that.
it isn't like back taxes.
That's probably the least comfortable.
Is it?
Comforted.
I think at that point, it's a big tax.
You know, because
Comforting?
Because it's.
Oh, confrontative.
you're not really
There you go.
penalizing them while they live there, but they leave, well then what? Capture.
So Lynn,
That's how ours was.
I don't know this gentleman's.
Okay, Darren, speak up.
So, sorry, my voice is out. I don't know this gentleman's name, but back to value. When can we get value proposition? Because I think this is, we're all struck on the fact that, what is the value of seal?
Okay.
And I will tell you, I actually had to call seal because there was a guy camped out in my front yard. We left a package. I didn't know if it was an explosive or a gun. I didn't know what was in it. And they immediately called HPD, and HPD came and resolved the issue. So I have small kids, and at the end of the day, it comes back to value, and I think there's enormous value in what seal provides.
I do too.
Based on what I've seen,
Me too.
because I work from home 2 days a week. They're camped outside of my front yard. Steve and I we just talked about it. They camp on side of Bethlehem, and at the end of the day, unless we provide the value proposition for the entire neighborhood, you won't see an increase in the number of people that provide, payment.
Who in this room will volunteer to help us track that? What you just said, perfect. Can you give me your email address, please?
I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you.
Great, thank you.
I hope it always works.
Sorry, Hector, go
We
ahead.
could probably ask CEO also to see if they can request, RVDs of whatever dash cam footage they have, whatever they're supposed to.
Okay.
But call them and we can put them in.
Okay, so can I also, so if we had, just some of the benefits, if we did have more dues, we could pay to have our esplanades and our medians, you know, they have sprinkler systems, we could get new signage, we could just drive through Maryland Estates or Ireland, you'll see what I'm talking about. If we had, you know, there's a service that you can buy where they put cameras at the entrances to the neighborhood, and they actually track all the license plates that come into your neighborhood. They have pictures of the people that are coming into your neighborhood. And they hand those pictures off to, you know, HPD if there's an issue. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we could, that's just scratching the surface of what we could do. And my feeling is in a few years, Willie, when we have these new streets, we're gonna want to keep the streets really nice. That's what I think. I know you've got something to say. Go ahead.
We have grants for beautification that we wouldn't have to pay anything. We just have to write the grant, that's how everybody got.
So who's gonna volunteer to write the grant? Is Jamal here? Okay, well, if you are interested in writing those grant proposals, then come see us. Okay, so we're at time now. Do you accept my calculation of the new dues? Yes? Thank you. Okay, great.
So what's the next step after today?
Okay, so the next step after today is I'm gonna put a summary of everything that we talked about here. I'm gonna send it out. I'm gonna put the new proposed dues, the amounts there. And then I'd like to invite, God, my brain is so dead. I'd like to invite feedback on that before we draft the stuff up like properly, because at that point we're gonna have to pay an attorney. So before we draft the stuff up properly, I'd like feedback, and then we'll do the voting. We can either do the voting in our January meeting or at a different meeting, or electronically, which doesn't seem to be super popular, but, the HOA conversation, I feel like needs a lot more conversation. Is that correct? Am I reading the room fair? Okay. I feel like that's a future conversation, but I'm glad that we're having that conversation. So does anybody want to say anything before we wrap up?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being here.
Yes.
I share my wife with this conversation on a daily basis, and I know how passionate she is about making this neighborhood what we all hope it will look like. We all have visions about what it might look like in our own ways, but I think together we can create a community that we're proud of, so that if we can set aside the details that we're gonna argue most about and find some kind of compromise that allows us to be a comprehensive neighborhood that is secure, that it allows us to walk freely on sidewalks at night with good lighting and drainage, we can get there. But if we haggle over the stuff that keeps us apart, we can't create the progress that we need to have the neighborhood we want for the future. So let's have the conversations, let's keep the conversations going, and invite people that are on that list that are not involved to be at this meeting next time. The more butts that are in these seats, the more people are gonna be invested. So look at your neighbors. If you see on that list, there's someone with a red house, invite them to the meeting. Take some ownership of your neighborhood too. We're doing what we can. Please take ownership. Please be a part, and thank you very much for being here.
Okay. All right. Darren, real fast.
Sorry that I was late to the meeting, I was 10 minutes late.
You are fired, mister.
Regarding the HOA discussion, it might be helpful to stimulate conversation, thought processes around what good looks like.
Okay.
And so you mentioned you were in a HOA community before.
Yes.
I was too in Maryland. And it might be good to say, this is an example. What do you like? What do you not like?
Okay.
And start a conversation that way.
I love that. Did you get that, Melissa? Right.
Melissa.
Make it fast.
I did.
We'll talk later.
Okay, and I want Matt and Darren to stay. Okay, go ahead.
I would just like to meet, I would like to Don't meet next month? Why not?
That is not gonna be feasible. I'm really sorry to put the book off.
How about 2 months from now?
I spent the entire day on this stuff, so it's very hard, and the amount of time that it takes to send out those emails, I actually have to send them out like many, because if you send too much, we're not paying for the service where you can send it all out, so I gotta do it like